Okay. Okay. Hi guys, David here from Pure Endurance Solutions. I'm here with Grant. We call him GFR, the ginger furry rodent. The only ginger in running in South Africa. We brought him in just to get his opinion on carbon plate shoes and stuff. So it's not always just my opinion that counts. We take other people's opinions into account as well.
So David normally tells me what my opinion
yeah,
is.
I'll give him his opinion, but it's good. So basically, what we want to do today is we just want to discuss the whole carbon plate saga that's been going on, the new IAAF rulings, etc., and how we think. Basically, there's a lot of misperception from runners that about the shoe. So we actually just want to clarify stuff, especially with the IAAF rulings, of the updated rule and the Olympic Games coming up. So, Grant, your personal opinion just generally on carbon plate shoes, where do you think it fits into the...
It's an incredible one, because I think I love innovation in footwear and I love innovation in general. So when these carbon plated shoes originally hit the market, I was incredibly excited. I thought it was innovative, it was new, and I still am a fan to a certain degree. But I do believe that there needs to be guidelines that allow us to pursue our sports, as in all sports, as in cricket, tennis, Formula One. There are guidelines that allow us to play within those boundaries. And at the moment, the accurate guidelines in running were not clear enough. So I think just so that everyone's on an even playing field, I think we needed some sort of guidelines. So I'm very, very happy that this ruling has actually come out.
Yeah. So obviously we started off with a 4%, and then became the next percent, and now the big hype with the sub 2 hour Ineos 159 and the Alpha Fly, and that's actually where the big boom, if you want to call it that way, happened, where the IAAF had to step in and say, like, guys, we need to draw a line somewhere.
Absolutely. It was just going to the nth extreme without any sort of regulations.
Yeah. So basically the first thing with the rulings came in, especially with the Alpha Fly, is the stack height. So basically the thickness of the midsole. So the first regulation came in, it needs to be less than 40 mils. Otherwise that's a regulation, which the Alpha Fly was, but not to give them too much credit. Yeah, not to give them too much credit, but Nike was ahead of the curve here. They've already got a backup plan, because they knew it was going to cause controversy. So the what we've seen on social media, the new Alpha Fly that's going to come out is less than 40 mils, and it only has one carbon plate, which the ruling is now. You're only allowed one carbon plate.
Absolutely.
Except in spikes. But the second plate
is your spike plate.
Is where you need to add the spikes to. So that's the main ruling. And in the other thing is that, which was a big question mark around it, is a shoe needs to be in retail, either available in retail, brick and mortar, or online 4 months, available to the public before the guys are allowed to compete in it. So with the Olympic Games coming up, that makes it quite interesting, because
I think we're going to see a couple of launches a lot quicker than initially anticipated.
Yeah, because so recently, I mean, it sounds like this week the Brooks Hyperion launched. I actually had a chat to the Brooks guys yesterday, and unfortunately, it was a very selective grading or allocation distribution. So it's not coming to South Africa, but it's also quite a high price point. But the reviews that I've read on it is actually quite good.
Absolutely.
The best that I've read on the carbon plate shoes, actually.
Absolutely. Saucony and Dolphin launching in sort of towards the end of March, April. So that should make cut off for Olympics as well. Again, that's a range of footwear, sort of from a performance shoe to a daily trainer to an everyday shoe as well. All with plates as well. Yeah,
and then obviously the New Balance shoe. I actually received a prototype a while ago, so it is a variation on this that's launching. Their date was originally only second half of the year, but now with Olympics coming up,
it's going to launch soon.
They need to make a plan, because obviously everybody will want to be in the playing field when it comes to the marathon, especially at Olympic Games.
So that's the fuel cell racer.
Yeah,
and they've also got their carbon plated the lightweight sort of minimal mile sort of speed distance shoe, which is already on the market.
There's some question marks. I don't know when the Addy version, the Addy racer with the carbon plate in, that was on social media the past few weeks or months. It's actually not months, few weeks. Was actually for more than 40 mil, so they will have to scrap that or adapt that.
They will be launching the Addy Zero Pro, which is very similar to an Addy Zero Adios, which we all know and love, with the carbon plates as well. And that was supposed to launch second half, but again, might end up being brought a little bit forward.
And one of the other two brands is Meta Racer. We're not actually quite sure when that's coming out, but that's also based more on the Meta technology, the rocker movement in the shoe. and then another one is the Hoka Carbon
X.
X Rocket, which nobody actually knows when the launch date is yet. So everybody's playing in that field. We've had I've had some conversation with other brands. That's just basically they've actually back in the day they've already tested it. Mizuno is actually one of the brands that have tested carbon plates before, and some of the athletes actually prefer TPU plate, like whatever Puma's doing in here. I mean, a lot of brands have used TPU propulsion plates in shoes before.
Also, just a little bit of feedback. If my research is correct, Adidas was actually the first brand ever to actually put a carbon fiber plate in a shoe. In 95, 97, somewhere around there, and actually didn't work. It didn't take off at all. So what it might not be the carbon fiber plate itself that is actually doing all the work, but the combination of these new ingenious, super lightweight, super springy foams with maximal sort of stack height. So that's why restricting the stack of the shoe might be as crucial as to limiting it. It's not necessarily the carbon fiber plate itself, but that in tandem. And that's also something that a lot of people don't always really understand. So it's just important to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, so basically, it's funny that you say that now, because I've actually read a study as well when it came to the next percent and 4%. Is one of the studies actually showed it wasn't the carbon plate, it was more the stack height, because it was delaying fatigue, and that's why. And I mean, obviously placebo effect always plays a role in the thing.
Absolutely.
The negative part of all of that is, I mean, these are two of the shoes that I've tested. Is they're basically racing shoes. You can't train with it. I mean, if you think there's not a lot of stability on the medial side there, so it's purely racing, and the midsole doesn't last that long really.
Durability, a massive concern. We look at the price of the footwear, not a daily trainer for most people. And my personal concern is that I would also be worried about using a carbon fiber plated shoe as an everyday trainer, unless there are specific biomechanical necessities that require that sort of rigidity. So I think there's a lot more to it than goes into it, but people often jump onto the bandwagon when they see something new and exciting, and it is an exciting time, but I think people often get fooled into buying into the hype.
Gimmicks. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's a great innovation. It's going. I mean, running shoes need to be innovative, and there needs to be technology in it. But it's also, you don't want to put too much or benefit too much, because you can only use it as a racing shoe. If you use it as a training shoe, it kind of makes you lazy in certain areas.
Absolutely.
Clearly,
so I pay for quite a while then.
So with some knee injuries. So basically, so the main thing, I mean, guys, I mean, anything from $3,500 to $5,000, $4,500 is basically the price point of these shoes. So our biggest thing that we just want to let the viewers know is basically, you need to know what you're buying. I mean, 300, 400 Ks for 3,500 Rand shoe.
And it's just about making an educated decision. Just be careful, do your research, and don't jump on the bandwagon. I'm not anti these shoes in any way. I love the innovation. This is actually part of David and I's collection of shoes. We are a little bit of interesting collectors, but just be aware of what you're buying, be aware of what the positives and negatives are, and make an informed decision. I think that's probably
and it's a personal preference thing as well. I'm not a carbon plate shoe person. I've actually, funny enough, did a test. Ran with a Mizuno shoe the other day, and the next day I ran with this shoe, exactly the same course, and funny enough, I ran at the same time. I checked my stats, the same pace, same calories burned and everything, and the traditional shoe, the Mizuno shoe, was actually more comfortable for me, because I prefer flex in a shoe, like a traditional racing shoe that has flex in it. I mean, that's my personal preference thing. So it might not be for everybody. And as you can see, obviously they don't cater for a lot of rubber in the heels.
Absolutely.
So you need to be an economical runner. I mean, if you run over, I also want to say, put a limit on it, for over 4 minutes a K. It's actually not, you're not running with a shoe the way it's made to be actually running with.
Yeah, absolutely. And you end up spending a lot of money on something that's not really going to give you the enjoyment, which is one reason we run. Not going to necessarily give you the performance, not necessarily give you the durability. So you then have to start questioning what the function of buying the shoe is.
And then obviously the last thing, obviously with increased stack height, there's less proprioception, higher off the ground. Obviously it's not a very wide base, especially on the heel. Absolutely. It might increase your risk of injuries as well. So once again, it comes down to purely racing shoe, be conditioned to, and it's not your everyday trainer.
Absolutely.
And especially it depends what color. I mean, they come out of quite bright colors. I mean, pink is also not everybody's cup of tea, or lime green, or whatever the shoes colors are that come out nowadays. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's us. Follow us on Pendurance's Instagram, our YouTube channel, and Pure Endurance Solutions on Instagram. And thanks, Grant, for joining us.
That was cool.
We'll keep you updated on more technology going forward.
Cool.